we talked about yesterday, period 3, all right, period 3, how would we label period 3? Remember, how would we title it? One word that would sum up period 3. Say again?
Independence.
Independence. All right, all this kind of leads towards independence and souring that relationship between us and England, okay? And it's like, remember, souring that relationship, okay? We've all been in those situations where we had friends, all right, and we had this great friendship, and then all of a sudden, they soured that relationship, right? Okay, where did, how and which ways did they sour that relationship? Were they dishonest at a certain point? Did they make a promise, right? Did they hurt you in some possible way, right? Did they destroy something of yours? Has this ever happened to you before? All right, that relationship was soured, right? So that's kind of how we're looking at what's sour these relationships. Welcome to another AP US History podcast. This is Mr. Duckhorn, and we are in our AP US History class, and we're going around the table here to see who our participants are today.
Angelica.
Xavier.
Stanley.
Kevin.
Holly. Frida.
Fantastic. Today we are covering a topic that covers period 3. All right. Now, kids, when we talk about period 3, what years consummate period 3?
1754 through 1800.
Through 1800. Fantastic. And if we were to kind of like label this period, what word would we use to kind of like label this period? Independence is what we're using. Fantastic. Fantastic. We're looking for the reasons in which our relationship is ruined, all right, with England. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin talking about the Boston Massacre here. And with this event, we're taking a look at a couple different documents. So we're working a historical thinking skill of comparison and historical thinking skill of analysis here. And so we're handed 2 different documents that are covering the same event. So we have 2 different perspectives, okay, about the same event. And what I do is I want to start here a little bit with taking a look at Paul Revere's document. All right. Now, if I'm going to hippo this up and analyze it, let's start a little bit here with talking about our author. Okay. Can anyone kind of tell me, like, if you didn't even look at this document, what do you already know about Paul Revere?
He's a revolutionary. He's one of the contributing factors in the Revolutionary War.
Okay, all right, and like, what if you ever like studied anything about him before, heard anything about him before? Even it goes back to like elementary school. What do you know about him?
The British are coming.
The British are coming. The British are coming. So already we know like his background, okay, would reflect what type of point of view when it comes to the American Revolution. He's what?
Revolutionary.
Pro-revolutionary.
Independence.
Pro-independence.
Anti-England.
Anti-England. All right. What groups typically were pro-colonists, patriots, and stuff like that? Okay. So we know kind of his background here. All right. Also, let's talk a little bit about some of the other information. We know our documents here are also focused on Boston. What do you know about Boston?
It was founded by Puritans. It's one of the Massachusetts Bay colony cities.
Absolutely, and so we're going back way back here. So we know it's a large populated city, a lot of people there. It's an old city and stuff like that. All right, but even like crazy things. Someone just talked about, said the word Patriots a few moments ago. All right, and when we think about the NFL and things like that, what team is from New England? What team is from Boston? The Patriots and stuff. Okay, so we know that obviously, Boston, the Revolutionary War, rebels and stuff. It must be, a really big part of their. The skirmish that breaks out between the 2 groups leads to death here. Okay, so then that takes us to our documents and our compare and our contrast. All right, take a moment here. all right? And this goes with everyone in the classroom. Take a look at this event and take a look at the two different perspectives in the documents, all right? And ask yourself the question like, what's the difference between the two? And ask yourself the question like, all right, why might there be two different perspectives, okay? Or which one might be the most historically accurate? Take a moment and do that now. All right, I'll give you guys a pause here for a second. Let you guys do that. Let's hear you guys can speak a little more on those perspectives and stuff. So what were you saying in regards to, you were speaking amongst yourselves, what did you notice in regards to the difference between the two perspectives? Xavier, what were you saying a few moments ago?
On the left, were more graphic imagery as opposed to the right.
So the left is a little more graphic.
Yeah.
Okay. Holly, what did you notice?
I noticed that in the second picture, it looks as if the colonists are surrounding the British troops, so it looks like they're defending themselves from the onslaughter, whereas the first picture with Paul Revere, it looks as if the British troops are just slaughtering the colonists.
And it almost looks like, you think about like, when you're an artist and you're using certain things to kind of get your point across, the motion of the bodies in the left one there, it seems that they're retreating, don't they?
Yeah, they're running away.
Yeah, but you were talking about a moment here about how that these are colonists here and these are colonists here, all right? And this is British, whereas over here, here's the colonists and here's the British. There's a different kind of perspective that, in regards to being surrounded versus being attacked. All right. Well, then here's my question. Okay. Let's ask ourselves why. Why are there two different perspectives, and why does Paul Revere paint his to look like that?
Paul Revere is meant to be kind of like propaganda, trying to get or promote anti-British sentiment within New England.
Talk.
I don't know how to explain that. He was trying to start a revolution. He was trying to initiate the first acts of independence, and he needed people to rally behind him for that to happen, and that's why he used pictures like that as propaganda.
Okay, so so if you're using propaganda, it means people have to be convinced and stuff. And you said he's trying to start up a revolution. Okay, so we talk about who our intended audience when we're analyzing a document. All right, who's our intended audience for this? Okay, but who specifically? Do you think? Just the Massachusetts colonists, or? There's a very powerful word that you said. Those who are mostly, all right, not convinced to participate in this. All right. So here, I want to fast forward to something. I want to talk a little about the committees of correspondence. This is going to be coming down the road. This is kind of an effect, all right, of the Boston Massacre. All right. This is an effect of the. This is an effect of some of the things that are going to be happening in the colonies between 1770 and 1772. But, in the Committee of Correspondence, it's about telling everybody in the colonies what's going on. So if there's something that's happening up here in Boston, okay, they want everyone to hear it down in Charleston eventually. And they want people down in Charleston to hear what's going on in Boston because, in theory, what's happening in Boston could happen in your colony too, all right? So they want, like, hey, they want everyone to kind of buy into this idea of that England might be a bad guy and we might need to all have to rebel and revolt and maybe declare independence from them and stuff. But getting everybody on the same page, coming together, all right? Coming together, all right? In today's day and age, you'd be sending things out in a Facebook blast or a tweet or or Snap and stuff like that. But back then, they'd be getting on horseback and they'd be riding through these towns and going to these different taverns and things like that and relaying this information about what was happening. Okay? All right, we're back and we're going to be taking a look at a new document. We've got 6 new players here today. We're going to go around the table and have them introduce themselves.
Maddie, Daniela, Jacinda, Maya, Adriana.
Awesome, fantastic. All right, we're back and now we're taking a look at the same document, all right? Or is it the same document? All right, what I want you to do is, all right, it might seem as if it's what might seem different, okay, is very obvious here, but I'm looking for a little detail, okay? There's something different about these 2 pictures, and it's a small little detail, all right? And I want you to spend a moment and look at this small little detail in here, but it's a very big detail. It's a big, rather big. We already had it. You found it already?
Yeah, I think, isn't that the slave? He's like, there's a person that's black in one picture, but then he's white in the next.
Can you guys see? Take a close look. Everyone notice? All right. So we're talking about this gentleman here. All right. And here's the same gentleman. All right. Right? Why are there 2 different versions?
Because the southern colony had slaves.
That's your guess, you said? Go ahead, speak louder on that guess.
The southern colonies had slaves.
Well, go on. So the southern colonies had slaves, right? All right, and what is the main objective of this particular, of this document? Remember, when we go back, we talk about the purpose, okay? What's the purpose? Go ahead.
The reason they didn't put a slave being killed to sent to the South is because the South didn't care about black people, slaves, so they wouldn't rally against the British killing one of them. Because essentially they do too.
And that's a very important point. But when we talk about this is here, this document, the purpose of this document is to, we want to convince people to join in the efforts of independence, right? Okay.
Maybe
Well,
the colonists wouldn't be as sympathetic towards that person because they don't really care as much.
Well, independence for whom? Who are we talking about here?
They just want independence for the white people, don't really care about the slaves.
They want to make sure that there's no confusion, that, if there is independence, okay, that the independence is not going to be for everybody, all right? And so, what is this? So, and let me step back, make sure we made all of our points very clear. We have 2 different versions here, okay? This one right here is for the northern colonies, okay? And I want to point out that, does anyone know who the gentleman is who was the first person killed in the Boston Massacre? Does anyone know who this person actually was? Crispus Attucks, okay? And he was a African-American man that was the first person killed in the Boston Massacre, all right? Now, this one's intended for the South, okay? Crispus Attucks is not portrayed in that picture, okay? Because, hey John, we wanted to make sure our number 1 priority was we have the southern colonies on board, and that this was not an action of independence for everybody, okay? So when we come back, remember, we want to make sure that we are getting everybody from the north to the south on board, okay? From the north to the south on board, all right, for this idea of independence. Now, let's come back here. What does this show us? Now, when we take a look at this and we think about an issue here, and we cannot even, we're changing history here, aren't we? This is a false history because it's not representing Crispus Attucks here, but what does it tell us? What is it evidence of? What does it tell us about that time? And what is, I think you want to say something. Go ahead.
That they wanted to start the American Revolution no matter
well said. Start this revolution at any cost, regardless of, that it isn't making sure that it's for everyone's rights that we're talking about, just making sure that we start this revolution. Excellent point, very good. What does it show us also about history? Like something that continues throughout history. Like we talk about things continuing from period 1, period 2, period 3. What does it tell us about things continuing throughout history?
Well, the picture shows that the people like that's armed looks to be authority, and the authority always has like more power.
Yeah, speak a little much louder for me. Go ahead. I'm gonna stop.
The people in the little suits and jackets appear to be the authority, and the authority always has the most power, like back then, even up till now.
Mm-hmm.
And like when people like protest and stuff, it's kind of the same because the authorities are there armed, and then the people are there like not armed.
I think that's an excellent point. You talk about, that in protest, the people who are armed versus not armed and things like that. Like, I think you're going to see that in history when you go back and you talk about protests for in labor unions. We talk about protests in civil rights movements and things like that. You're right. That's going to be continued in history and stuff. We even saw that when we talked about Iron Drought Angels and women's suffrage movement. What else? Other continuities in history here.
That they were willing to change things so they can get more support. Like they didn't really care about telling 100% of the truth as long as it served their agenda.
Okay, that there's always, right, so the agenda is always the priority. Very good. How about the fact that they chose not to put an African American in the picture? Go ahead, Frida.
I felt like they were debating whether or not he was a hero or just a villain, and they didn't want that kind of, they didn't want to put him in that second picture just because they probably thought that he was a villain.
Well, they put, remember that was purposely left out because they knew who their audience is. The audience on the one on the right is the what? What group?
South.
The South, the Southern colonies. Okay, so that shows us what's the big issue there. All right. What's the big issue that always continues? It seems to continue throughout history.
Changes what actually happens for their advantage.
Yes, but there was something else I was thinking too. And hear my say.
That the African Americans are going to get their rights for a really long time.
So that makes the issue of
Race.
absolutely racism, very good, continues throughout history. All right, and that takes us to the document which we're about to read here in a moment. So like we see when we talk about continuities in history, like there was racism in regards to how those who explored in our colonies in period 1 treated the Native Americans that were here. Here in period 3, we see something else continue. We see racism again, existing here with slavery continuing, going to continue because we're going to prioritize a revolution, regardless of addressing all issues and stuff. We know that this is going to continue, all right, also throughout other periods of history which we're going to study. Okay, so we're just talking about those continuities in history. All right, excellent.